Hello and welcome to the Yard Red Festival here on twitch.tv/HeflaTV1. This is going to be game 2 of a best of 3 series between Power Rangers and Moscow 5 in the upper bracket of the Yard Red Festival. I'm Grandis V and I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris again for this game number 2.
Yep, game number 1 was pretty cut and dry for Power Rangers. They got on the pain train and they did not stop. Moscow 5 had a Razor that was fairly irrelevant throughout the entire game, and unfortunately their Batrider couldn't get those perfect initiations off as often as they really would like, and all that combined means that Power Rangers are going to pretty easily take game number 1 off of a couple of errors and delays and whatnot, but here we are for game number 2. This is the new version, 0.82c. I don't know if that's going to affect the picks at all. It seems maybe not, as M5 going to slam that Skywrath Mage first.
Yeah, we saw Skywrath Mage last game worked pretty well for Power Rangers that time around, and I think if it's not broken, don't fix it. The pickups for Power Rangers, however, fairly interesting, with Shadow Demon and Puck first pick. They're not unconventional heroes by any stretch of the imagination, but it's weird to see them in these first 2 slots. And PTG, again, going to get his hands on the Ogre Magi. Despite last game not getting as much as I think they could have out of the Ogre pick, with the Skywrath Mage as well as the Ogre, this potential aggression coming out from them definitely could work out in this game number 2, and I'd like to see them try a little bit more than they did in game number 1.
Seconds to go.
But what are your thoughts on the Shadow Demon and Puck? I think it's mostly just defensively up against the Skywrath Mage and then having an all-around good mid laner.
Yeah, I think that's most of the Shadow Demon pick right there. When you're dealing with Ogre Magi and Skywrath Mage, obviously they didn't know they were facing Ogre Magi yet, but Skywrath Mage especially, having that disruption is going to be absolutely crucial, and having an answer is just so much better than struggling up against a full-on Mystic Flare. Even though it may be nerfed, it's still going to be doing quite a bit of damage, and Shadow Demon is one of, if not the best hero to avoid that. It's a way to avoid it that you get from minute 0 as opposed to waiting for a Force Staff. And the Puck, I mean, it's picking a Puck into a Skywrath Mage and an Ogre Magi. It's fairly easy to buy yourself a little bit of time from a Fire Blast, but not from an Ancient Seal. So even though it's a strong hero Puck, I don't think this is the best pick for the Power Rangers right now, just because Moscow 5 are already so well prepared to deal with it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would have liked to see the likes of the Centaur again as their offlaner for Power Rangers. I think it's just a good all-around hero, synergizes decently well with the Shadow Demon, and well, we're not going to see him this time around as he's going to be banned. Maybe Power Rangers want to throw this Puck towards the offlane. It is always an option if they don't have something else in mind. But for now, we're going to see mostly supports being focused in the first stage, and we're probably going to see a lot of cores being banned out in the second. Right now, it's Centaur and Rana being taken out of the pool.
Yeah, so they're just going to, most likely Moscow 5, eliminate duos that could partner up with the Shadow Demon. I would not be surprised to see a Kunkka ban out, although I don't really know if Power Rangers are extremely comfortable with running that hero as a support. It is a very niche way to run that hero and doesn't really come up that often, but getting rid of the likes of Kunkka, maybe even banning out Lestrak, all these heroes that could combo with a Shadow Demon, because other than that, Power Rangers, they have pretty much a blank slate. The only thing that they really have working for them is the fact that Shadow Demon is going to provide setup, and that's sometimes something you don't actually see that often. Looks like Power Rangers banning out the Razor, then going to slam the Spectre once again. So I guess if it's not broken, then don't fix it.
Yeah. Spectre works pretty well with the Shadow Demon, being able to make the illusions of herself, but more than anything, just a good late-game hero. Last game, the build, I'm still not entirely sold on the Urn. It worked pretty well for them, although maybe it lulled them into a false sense of security where they went for that very aggressive dive up in the top tier 1, if I remember correctly, before the remake. But either way, I think it's still going to be a good carry hero for Power Rangers to work with. It's fairly hard to deal with, despite being hit with the nerfs in the most recent patch that came out today. It's still a really good late-game hero to rely upon. If things go poorly, you still have that trump card of, hey, if we get our Spectre 6-slotted, maybe we'll still be able to win some teamfights fairly convincingly.
Yeah, it's assuming your team is doing its job, and that's something that we kind of didn't see from Moscow 5, even though they're working with the Medusa, not Spectre. They just couldn't get big enough, and M5, they're going to pick up the Phantom Assassin rather quickly. This is usually a hero that we don't see picked up this early, and if we do, it's partnered up with something like an Io. Phantom Assassin with Bloodlust is pretty dangerous, but I think Power Rangers actually they don't have that many great tools against Phantom Assassin. Really, the best way to deal with her is just burst her down, apply early aggression through magical damage, but Power Rangers are very short on that. Shadow Demon his magic damage output is very limited, and Ancient Apparition, his magic damage output is reliant on Chilling Touch, which, although large, is going to be missed by Blur. So this is actually a pretty decent pick for Moscow 5 right now.
Yeah, I quite like it. Despite not having the Wisp partnered up with it, a Bloodlusted PA is still incredibly scary, and as long as you have a way to buff up the PA, she can be a very potent late game hero. And if they want to run the IO, they still could throw the Scarith Mage mid versus the Puck, and then have the IO as a support. It could work out, although unconventional. It makes their lanes a little bit weaker, or not really weaker, but their transition into the mid-late game a little bit weaker. It's still an option. I think we're going to see the offlaner here from Moscow 5, and what that is, I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be a Faceless Void, actually. Very interesting. Right now, the only synergy that they really have with the Faceless Void is the Scarith Mage Mystic Flare, and that's nice and all, but it looks like it's going to be an offlane utility Void, and without anything else other than the Scarith Mage to drop into it, I'm not a huge fan of it, although it does allow them to scale pretty well into the late game.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, I don't really like this either. It is another hero that Power Rangers are going to really struggle to go up against because Power Rangers are extremely damage light, and you really need lots of bursts and lots of damage in order to kill off a Void. Faceless Void and Phantom Assassin do not play well together. I mean, they're both melee, which is awkward enough. It's a third melee hero for the team, which is pretty bad. And then Chronosphere with Phantom Assassin, unless you are absolutely perfect on the edge of that circle, the Phantom Assassin is going to be able to do nothing except for throw a Stifling Dagger, maybe if she feels like doing that. But this is not really... This is a pretty hard non-bow for the Moscow 5 to pick up. And this synergy with Scarith Mage, although nice, isn't worth the counter synergy between the Phantom Assassin and Ogre Magi.
Yeah, I think that's fair. As far as their last pick for Moscow 5, I'd like to see an Invoker from them. Because I think it's going to be a mid laner for them, and even if it's not, they could still throw the Phantom Assassin mid and then have the Invoker from the safe lane. That would give them something else to combo with that Chronosphere. But then again, it's going to be investing very heavily into the Chrono, and Power Rangers, they're going to ban out the Invoker. I think that's solid. It would have given them a lot of damage to pump into the Chrono.
Yeah, going for something like a Queen of Pain might also be possible, though they should know that the matchup is going to be up against Puck. Really, as long as Moscow 5 don't pick up another melee hero, they should be in for a decent time. 3 melees is quite a bit, and Power Rangers have a couple heroes that can punish that. AA, Puck, Spectre mainly, being able to do pretty large amounts of work versus melee heroes. But Power Rangers, they still need one more core. They have their support duo. It's fairly low damage, though lots of setup. So picking up a hero that with a lot of damage, well, there it is. Alchemist can put out a lot of damage if he does have the right circumstance. And I think with Shadow Demon set up for a long concoction, he will be able to put some serious hurt onto Moscow 5.
Yeah. I'm still kind of on the fence for the Alchemist pick, although this game is going to be better than most for ganking into the Alchemist's lane. If that's Phantom Assassin mid or something else, there's not very many heroes that can actually evade that gank. Shadow Demon Disruption into the Alchemist concoction, especially if it's going to be amplified by the Acid Spray as well as by the stun, but it's the last pick Lina for Moscow 5.
It happened. It finally happened. It only took like 50 games, but we finally get to see the Lina, and it's being played by Blow Your Brain. This is a core Lina, I believe, and oh man, I mean, like, I've been waiting for Lina for so long, and it never even crossed my mind that she would be played as a core.
I don't know, I love the pick. I guess we'll talk about that a little bit after we introduce all of the teams. It is going to be Blow Your Brain playing on that core Lina, and he's currently heading towards the top lane, followed by PGG on the Ogre Magi, and King are potentially going to be going up there as well in the Scarith Mage. Mid is going to be Vigas playing on the Phantom Assassin, and solo is safe. Currently, it's going to be Tron playing on the Faceless Void.
And on the other side, Power Rangers, we have Cheshire Cat playing the, looks like, solo offlane Alchemist, expecting the Void matchup, and he's going to get it. Shashto is going to be playing the mid lane Puck. Up towards top, we got Suniko on the Ancient Apparition. J4 going to be playing the Shadow Demon, and Ditya Ra is on the Spectre. So the Lina, it's a hero that we don't see that often. If you're going to look to apply pressure early on, if you need a ranged hero, if you need lots of damage, she's basically your girl, and she has all the setup in the world off of Concussive Shot and a Fire Blast, and if you get an Ancient Seal, then you're going to be getting kills very easily. They're going to catch J4. He has a Disruption to potentially save himself, and he has a little bit of support from the Ice Vortex, but the Fire Blast is going to land nonetheless. Now Blow Your Brain, following up the LSA, is going to most likely kill off J4. Yes, the damage should be enough. Right-clicked from King R is going to get first blood. Scarith Mage draws on the Shadow Demon. Lina's such a powerful hero, guys. You have no idea.
I don't know, I like seeing the Lina, especially with the Faceless Void. You can set up for an LSA after the Chrono, and then you also have I don't know, just the Fiery Soul, or the Dragon Slave, excuse me, and the Fiery Soul to pump damage into the Chrono, especially if Lina builds into some more right-clicking items. She's a hero that can benefit from that Chronosphere lockdown fairly heavily, and it's a great start to this game for Moscow 5. They're going to stay in this aggressive tri-lane, and I'm not sure the Spectre is going to be able to find very much farm. Definitely a lot less than what we saw last game.
Yeah, the Spectre is going to be pressured so heavily. Like, this is as aggressive as a tri-lane as you could possibly pick up. Lina's scaling into the late game is kind of there with Fiery Soul, but it's extremely limited when you compare her to, you know, a Spectre or an Alchemist who could do it so easily. So this lane is 100% dedicated in order to shut down the Spectre. And if you take a look at the positioning from King R, it's pretty much working already. Scarlet Mage is going to be handling this for the most part by himself. And Power Rangers, they don't really have the greatest heroes in order to deal with this. Again, Ancient Apparition and Shadow Demon, their damage output is rather lackluster. They really excel at getting the Cold Feet combo off, and then that's it. Rely on their last hero to do damage. That combo is not going to work at all when you're dealing up against this very aggressive Moscow 5 lane. So, you know, Lina probably could have been anyone else, or a couple of different heroes, and they could have gotten away with it. But the fact of the matter is that M5 are getting away with a very aggressive tri-lane, and they're shutting down the Spectre, which is so crucial to do.
Yeah, the other lanes are trading blows fairly effectively. Phantom Assassin getting the lesser half of the exchange in mid, although it's still farming well up against the puck. It's going to be more or less a wash. Bottom lane, Alchemist, I'd say, is favored in this lane once he gets up a Soul Ring, but for now, Tron can trade up against Cheshire Cat, and right now under tower, Faceless Void's able to get some experience. I doubt we're going to see any kills on those lanes unless there's some rotations from these supports. For now, it's just a Spectre that can't get anything, currently only 1 CS, and I don't expect that to change very soon.
Yeah, Lina has a ton of attack range as well, so melee hero Spectre is going to be taking chip damage 24/7, and, well, bottom lane Alchemist taking quite a bit of damage, but they're also thinking about going on top at the exact same time. The only real danger for M5 is if they play a little bit too aggressively and get put into a bubble and with Cold Feet on them, but Cold Feet isn't even there yet. It's only level 1 Ancient Apparition, so that threat isn't really going to be present until Power Rangers get a couple more levels. Overall, M5, they're doing pretty well with this laning stage. Vigos versus Puck, I think this actually should be very heavily favored towards Puck. Phantom Assassin will be able to last hit with those daggers, but getting any sort of sticking damage with the Stifling Dagger onto Shot Slow is going to be damn near impossible once Phase Shift comes up.
Yeah. I don't know. Vigos is still able to get a little bit of farm, and if there's rotations, that could change things. But I do agree with you. For now, all of the lanes for Moscow 5 are getting a decent amount, and now with PGG rotating in, they Blink Strike onto Shatchlow. He's going to be able to jaunt to the Orb, however, and survive, but with the Stifling Dagger, the Ignite from the Ogre Magi might be enough to get this kill. Puck is... Oh, he actually doesn't have 8 points to the Phase Shift. He's going to be dropped low, but he's going to survive because his bottle was delivered. Still, a lot of pressure being put onto the Puck, and he's going to be forced to play a little bit more defensively now.
At the same time, they went for top lane. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough damage to actually kill off anyone. Put a little bit of damage to King R, but that's about it. They're going to look for Ditchara over up on top. Lawyer Brain had an opportunity for a free-handed LSA. He's going to instead throw it onto Soneko. The concussive goes to the Spectre, however. The damage is going to be enough regardless. Lina going to get a kill on the Ancient Apparition. Now going to try to go for the Spectre, who's going to try to go for the Skywrath. LSA is once again going to miss, and, well, the damage might be enough regardless to have a slave, and that's going to do it. Lina going to get a double kill, and they're looking for 3. PGG going to set up with a Fire Blast. LSA to follow up. Not going to be used just yet. They're just going to walk down the Shadow Demon. This is going to be a triple kill for Blow Your Brain. No, Ogre Magi steals it with Ignite, but anyway, it's M5 taking a very early 4-0 lead in this game. It's pretty much the exact opposite that we saw in the last game.
Yeah, I don't know. I love seeing Moscow 5 play this aggressively. It just suits their players so much more than what we saw last game, playing so passively, and they're making this PGG Ogre Magi do some work, and, well, there's not going to be a kill yet, as both are going to be repelled by the creeps as well as by the tower. But still, a lot of hurt putting into Cheshire Cat. Instead of going for the Soul Ring, is going to get the bottle in order to maintain his mana as well as his health. It's going to be more common that you see double bottle now that there's 2 rune spawns on either side. And eventually Cheshire Cat might be able to secure that. But right now, Power Rangers map control isn't that great.
Yeah, the Alchemist is going for a very old Alchemist build. Like, 9 times out of 10, your Alchemist is going to be getting Acid Spray unstable, or just unstable, or, you know, just Grievel's Greed. But this is actually Acid and Grievel's Greed. This is like the old hardcore farming Alchemist back when his Chemical Rage gave him a whole bunch of health. But he's going to be putting it to good use over on the bottom lane. Faceless Void is currently manhandling him, although Ancient Apparition rotating in. With Cheshire Cat, they actually can't get anything done because he has absolutely no points in Unstable Concoction, which is so very rare to see. So Cheshire Cat's going to look to play this lane as passively as possible, but I don't know if Tron's going to let him have that. He's gone for Poor Man's Shield, Orb of Venom. This Faceless Void wants to trade hits as often as he can, and he actually has 2 points in Backtrack as well. So if he does get into an early game duel with this Alchemist, the Faceless Void should come out on top.
Yeah. Oh no, so Nico just needs more levels. Chronosphere come into Cheshire Cat. They don't have a lot to follow this one up. They're looking for the bashes, and I think Cheshire Cat's still gonna die, especially with rotation coming out from Vigos. They bash down Cheshire Cat, looking for just a little bit more damage. Stifling Dagger secures it for the Phantom Assassin. And that's going to be 1,000 gold on a Vigos. Leaving the puck solo is acceptable, as we might see it go up and top. They're not going to be able to get in range for any of their stuns after the concussive shot, but they might dive this. No, they're going to think better of it as Blurry Brain takes a couple of tower shots for his trouble and then backs off to farm the creep wave.
So as good as the farmed Lina is, really the other M5 heroes need to get a little bit of something as well. Like Ogre Magi, we saw it last game, he was struggling quite a bit as he's only level 2 6 minutes into the game, whereas somehow the Scarith Mage and Lina both level 4, level 5. So Ogre Magi is mostly going to be set up in this game, and it's still okay, but not the best. They're going to start a fight over in the top rune area. PGG has a Fire Blast, but no LSA available. It already was used and already missed, so they're going to wait on that. Spectre still at bottom line isn't really farming that great, but really with this type of aggressive lane, you would expect M5 to be going a lot more aggressively towards the Spectre and even towards the mid lane, which really they haven't touched at all.
Right now it's going to be Vigos that's going to be gone aggressively upon. He does get the curse on him as well as 2 points of the Shadow Poison. They have a Dream Coil to commit, but the Blink Strike away, Vigos is going to survive.
Killing off Phantom Assassin is pretty damn hard. Even with maxed out Stifling Dagger only, the Phantom Strike is going to get you out most of the time, especially if you have a couple more points in Blur. So Power Rangers is once again going to feel the downside of having heroes with relatively low amounts of damage. Getting a kill on the Phantom Assassin is going to be damn difficult, and it will not really get much easier until super late into the game, where Spectre and Alchemist are going to ideally be farmed. But if that doesn't happen, then they are not going to be able to get any kills, and getting any sort of kills for Power Rangers, I don't see it happening unless M5 go for tower dives. J4 is going to run straight into PGG. Fire Blast is there. Ignite available as well. They're just going to start dueling each other. This is not a fight that J4 can win. Shadow Demon is not going to be able to duel up against an Ogre Magi ever. He's going to get a little bit of support. Dragon Slave will miss. J4 barely getting out of there with his life. And rotation in from the puck has a coil. PGG is going to get bottled up, though, and if they do go for Blurry Brain PGG, it will be very risky. Someone will probably die in the process, but they're going to go for Dit Your Raw first. Coil is going to interrupt things a little bit, and now here comes Sacha with the silence. PGG is most certainly going to go down. Blurry Brain taking tower aggro. He's going to go down first, actually. PGG is now on the run. I don't think he can escape. He's going to haunt forward the Spectre just a little bit, and Ogre Magi, though, with a lot of movement speed, a lot of armor, he might survive. Turning around for a Fire Blast, Ignite onto the Spectre. Gonna try to go for it really hard, but it's gonna be Vigos to clean up in the end. Blinking forward, killing off the Spectre. Now wants more. Not gonna find it at the exact same time that we see Tron getting a solo kill on the Alchemist down on bottom. It's a 2 for 2 in exchange, and it's slightly going to be favoring Moscow 5, as getting a kill on the Spectre is going to be worth it pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, more or less, especially since Lina doesn't really matter as far as getting one of those big items. Lina's going to scale well with the levels, and that's what's important. As far as the raw numbers, it's a slight lead for Moscow 5 in the experience, and a slight lead for PR as far as gold is concerned. I would say that that trade is more or less a wash, but the status quo is good for Moscow 5, so they're going to be pretty happy with how that's going. Tron down in bottom, when he doesn't have Chronosphere, he can't trade with the Alchemist anymore because the ultimate is available for him. We saw that a little bit earlier. Faceless Void was getting zoned out just by taking a little too many hits with the knives of the Alchemist, but once that was off, one rotation to the Scarith Mage was all that they need. Now PGG and King R are looking for the Spectre in bottom. They're going to open up with the silence. The Ignite's also going to follow through. Concussive Shot. They're slowing down the Spectre. Will it be enough? They bash him, and now the ultimate from the Scarith Mage is going to make the Spectre a dent in the ground. We are going to see a little bit of initiation. The Phantom Assassin going to go very aggressively up on the J4. Gets tagged by the Cold Feet, but we'll look at J4 before those proc is on the backlines. Scarith Mage is cleaned up by the puck, but now puck caught between Tron as well as PGG is going to fall in a 1 for 3 favoring Moscow 5. And now the Lina on the sidelines finds herself an Alchemist. She does have the Laguna Blade available to throw. They just need a little bit more. They're going to give a double kill away. The Phantom Assassin, the HF version also falls. Cheshire Cat stunned by the LSA. Now there's going to be the Laguna Blade. Blow Your Brain secures another kill, and 12 to 3 is our kill score less than 10 minutes in.
Moscow 5, they lose the Scarith Mage. Not a big deal because that's kind of his job, but they clean up absolutely everyone from the Power Rangers. This Phantom Assassin just running wild. Like, she doesn't have that much. She has no items that are really substantial, just power treads, yet she's constantly on the right heroes whenever they don't really have great ways to escape. The Ancient Apparition is like not going to be able to escape ever, and Lina finding the Alchemist as soon as his Chemical Rage runs out is pretty much the ideal time to run into the Alchemist. So overall, Moscow 5 take an extremely scattered fight, and I think when you have this many melee heroes, that's exactly what you want. You don't want to get clustered up. You want to have every single melee hero fighting their own battle, and that's pretty much what happened. Moscow 5 off to a fantastic start in this game, and Power Rangers, they, again, are just lacking damage. Puck had a nice coil and was able to clean up the Scarith Mage in the end, but that was about it. That's the only thing that went right for the Power Rangers in that last fight.
This is Void as well as Scarlet Mage smoked up. If they find a Chronosphere onto the Spectre, Spectre is gone. Especially now with the Mask of Madness on Neutron, he's putting out a decent amount of damage himself. Time Walk into Chrono would secure the end of the Spectre, and no, they find him. There's going to be a Chronosphere, Time Walk forward, Chronosphere onto the Spectre, and now the ultimate is going to secure the demise of the Spectron. Is going to take a little bit of damage, but not enough. If they keep on picking up the Spectre, Power Rangers' hopes for this game are all but over. Right now, the Spectre has nothing. 2,000 net worth on the Spectre at this point in the game, not even thinking about picking up that relic. It's not a happy game. The Alchemist, after going for a very farm-heavy build, is going to back off into a mech. Although it's a nice item to have on your team, you would like to see this more in your utility ganking Alchemist, rather than delaying the late game impact of an Alchemist that's committed very heavily into the Acid Spray as well as the Greed.
Yeah, usually it's if you get Unstable Concoction, then you're going to be looking for a mech as well, or Solo Mid Alchemist, who with Unstable Concoction and Acid Spray is going to want to go for this mech. But Greed, when you pick that up, usually you want to go for something that hurts a little bit more. Get yourself some Phase or Power Treads and maybe an Armlet or a Maelstrom, items along those lines, because Power Rangers, it's nice to survive for sure, but you also need to be able to kill the enemies, and Alchemist is not going to put out much damage at all with that mech completed, as the Spectre is going to be doing pretty much nothing in this game, or for a large portion of this game at the very least. Phantom Assassin's going to run into two very tasty targets, and oh, he's going to drop Sneeko down to half HP with one dagger. That seems balanced. That seems nice. So Nico's going to be forced to TP out, but then on top lane, it's going to be them going for Tron. Has a time walk away. He's going to snap the coil, but he will TP away the damage. It's not going to be dodged. It looked like it might have been enough for the Phase Void to survive, but it's also going to be in the mid lane where Nico is going to be dove by Blur Brain, just mildly into the tower. He's going to run straight into J4. He's going to throw an LSA, and he's going to get put into the bubble at the exact same time. Now here comes Vigos. We'll clean up J4 pretty quickly. Blur Brain throwing everything he has. He has still something but he can't get it off. Ditya is going to come in for a little bit of assisting action, but that's pretty much it. It's going to be 4 heroes down for Power Rangers. Cheshire Cat can do nothing in this scenario. Maybe if he had maxed out Unstable Concoction, but at the end of the day, it's going to be M5 losing 2 core heroes. Pretty bad, but in exchange for 4, totally worth it.
Especially if you kill the Spectre. Again, it's going to be Spectre that's getting nothing. And last game, I excused the urn coming out from the Power Rangers Spectre. This game is more or less unacceptable. An urn is going to give you a little bit of tank as well as some nice utility for your team, but it's 800 gold that's not going towards a big item for the Spectre. Presumably Radiance, maybe even just a Blades of Alacrity towards Diffuse or Yasha. But either way, it's going to delay the Spectre's impact. In mid, J4 is going to get jumped upon by Vigos, silenced up. He can do nothing but watch himself die, and he is going to do so as King R finds himself a killing spree.
18-5, and Moscow 5 have a monstrous advantage for only 13 minutes at 7,500 gold and experience in their favor. They're looking for kills, and Power Rangers, they're not looking for kills at all. They just want to, hunker down and try to survive this upcoming storm, but I don't know if M5 are going to make that happen. I mean, they're playing in such a way that Power Rangers, they're getting nothing, as we constantly are saying. They're not looking for kills. They're barely getting anything once the fights are actually starting. And M5, even if the initiation isn't extremely perfect for them, their heroes are just powerful enough, especially now with the BKB on Phantom Assassin, to just go in and say, we're powerful enough, we're just going to throw ourselves at you, and we're probably going to come out ahead. And that's exactly what's happening. Even the Lina, going to go for some super secret anti-BKB tech with the point booster. It's probably going to be an Aghanim Scepter, although I'm not really too sure how worth it that is on the Lina. She's getting pretty much whatever she wants because she can.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Even without the piercing BKB, it's still going to be a lot of damage coming up from Lina. Not to mention some tank. I think it's still a fine item choice. And the Alchemist eventually will think about getting a BKB, especially if he's going to be transitioning into a late game hero. And once that happens, the burst damage from Laguna Blade is going to be ridiculous. And now up top, Chronosphere onto Ditya. Ditya is not going to eat the Scarlet Mage ultimate, but he's still going to fall. There's no way out of this. He's going to be bashed, fire blasted down. Stifling Dagger, if nothing else, would have secured the kill, but it is going to be Faceless Void getting the last hit. This Spectre has less net worth than the enemy Skyrath Mage, who's been played as a smart, and right now this Skyrath Mage is a lot more impactful, currently forcing Cheshire Cat out of the lane. The ultimate going to be dropping him down to about half. He's going to survive, and King R might die to the HF version ultimate, and he will. A little bit aggressive for that Skyrath Mage to dive there. It's still not the end of the world.
Top lane, they're going to start yet another fight. They jump in and annihilate the puck. J4 narrowly dodged PGG as they ran right through each other. The fog of war cooperating for J4, so he's going to survive, but losing your puck, definitely not a good way to go, as puck should be able to survive those things because he does have a blink dagger and phase shift, but for whatever reason, he was not able to escape that fire blast pretty strong, and Cheshire Cat going to teleport right in, but stun himself. Now they're going to jump right in. Here comes the Haunt, though, so they might not want to fully engage on this one. Here comes the Spectre Haunt reality in. Vigos is going to be put into the bubble. He's going to pop a BKB and try to teleport out. There's nothing that the Power Rangers can do to interrupt this. So it is going to be them, I guess, defending their tier 2 tower, but they don't really gain anything either. It's a 10-second BKB charge, which is substantial, but Phantom Assassin is going to survive at the end, and J4 might not be as lucky. Mystic Flare just coming off cooldown. Mystic Flare, that was nowhere close to being anywhere correct, but will it matter? One more right click's all they need. 7 HP, the Shadow Demon survives, and now King R potentially in a bit of trouble. A Spectre going to give the chase down, is not going to have enough. Really, this Urn of Shadows is kind of disappointing. It's literally doing nothing for her.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. The Alchemist stuns himself twice in that engagement. Cheshire Cat, I don't think you can pre-stun and then TP anymore. The timing for that is just so sketchy. Unless they're standing right on top of you, it just doesn't work, especially if somebody TPs to the tower before you do. It wouldn't have mattered either way. It's down in bottom. They're going to find themselves a Blow Your Brain. This is a good pickoff for them. The LSA dodged by Satchelo. And there's nobody else to follow up, so it's just going to be that isolated pickoff. But now the Faceless Void jumps into the Chronosphere, going to land onto 2. Luckily enough for them, the Ancient Apparition is going to avoid that. Nothing else is going to happen after that Chronosphere. So it is just going to be a Lina pickoff at the end of the day. But now PGG is going to be stunned up, and he'll be chased down and pursued. Alchemist getting last hit there. And so PR going to find themselves a little bit of something, but it's not going to be enough. Tier 1 tower might fall after this, but I'm not sure if that's even going to matter.
Yeah, I think Moscow 5 have to tighten up the screws a little bit. Yes, they are far ahead, but at the same time, if you give Spectre a little bit of space, if you give the rest of the Power Rangers heroes a couple of kills here and there, then suddenly you could find yourself in a sticky situation. They're going to go for Shoshlo over on mid. Instantly first bash, no chance to blink out. He will be able to jaunt potentially. Not going to do it. He's instead going to get bashed down by Tron. I guess there was no good way to escape that. Now Vigos thinking about going for Cheshire Cat, the stun. Not being channeled just yet. Vigos doesn't even concern himself with the Alchemist. Like, he's completely ignoring him, but Tron not going to do that. He's going to go straight for Cheshire Cat as Tron blinks, or Vigos is going to blink straight forward J4. Cheshire Cat's still alive, as is the Shadow Demon. Now here comes the Spectre, going to clean up one. Now looking for another. Faceless Void going to get hit pretty hard by the Desolate damage. You think he's going to go down as well? He will. And Vigos still in the area, cleaned up the Shadow Demon in the end, but now he's being chased down by Cheshire Cat, who's going to end up stunning himself for like the 3rd or 4th time, but he's going to run straight towards Blow Your Brain, and this is not something that Power Rangers want to fight up against. Lina has been remarkably absent from most of these fights, and that's really hurting Moscow 5's fighting potential.
It really is. That was incredibly greedy coming up from Moscow 5. Instead of focusing down the Alchemist on the front lines, Vigos is like, you got this. You can take down the Alchemist, even though he has his ultimate online. TP away from Cheshire Cat's probably going to save him here unless he crits on every attack, and Vigos is not going to be so lucky. It's a Blink Dagger for the Lina. This is an okay item choice. It's never a bad item to have on anybody, and it will allow the Lina position itself a little bit more aggressively. It's down in bottom. The puck finds a nice initiation onto 2, but now going to be silenced up. Multicast ultimate from the Skyreath Mage and crit? My goodness, that puck did not stand a chance. Now the tier 1 tower down in bottom is going to fall. What a poor puck.
Puck just got absolutely wrecked. Like, you cannot do... If there was any other hero who got caught by that, they would have been dead. So, I mean, the puck really wasn't the problem there. It was the fact that multicast into Mystic Flare is actually pretty legit. And at the same time, Lina getting a solo kill versus Spectre. Level 2 Laguna Blade used, and Spectre with not much survivability with that Urn is not going to survive. Now they're going to go for Cheshire Cat. The most survivable hero on the Power Rangers. Do they have enough damage to do this? They're going to drop the Chronosphere, and Vigos is right on the edge, so he's able to right-click through this. That's going to be 2 kills, maybe even 3, as Sonico's going to be chased down. Vigos with the crits. That's going to be a full 5-man wipe. That was a beautiful, beautiful Chronosphere from Tron. It's going to give his team so much momentum to take down this tower. And we'll probably rotate over to mid and take that tower as well. Nothing but huge plays from the Moscow 5 side. And Power Rangers, they're struggling to get anything going for them.
Guess what's happening to
Even though they found a couple of kills, Shashel is going to attempt it, or Vigos is going to attempt to solo up Shashel. He's going to do it. He gets enough crits. The disruption comes out as well as the curse onto the Phantom Assassin, but Phantom Assassin is just going to TP out of here casually. No way for them to cancel that and punish the aggression coming up from Vigos. I thought the puck would survive there, but apparently not.
Oh man, this Phantom Assassin's level 15. Like, we gotta remember that even though Puck is extremely survivable, it's only a level 11 hero versus a level 15 hero. and at level 15 his hero is a Phantom Assassin. So the amount of damage that Puck can take is relatively limited, and the amount of damage that PA could deal is pretty freaking huge. And now with the Basher onto her person, suddenly TPing out for the Power Rangers, it was ordinarily the safest way to get out, and it wasn't even that safe. Now it's just not going to happen. Like, Phantom Assassin is going to truck you. And she's going to potentially run to a whole bunch of heroes, looking to secure that double damage rune. She is going to pop smoke and then go straight for J4. No, Vigos going to show some restraint. I think if I was in the PA's shoes, I would go straight for the double damage rune, then I would dive right in. But she's going to spot the fact that Power Rangers are going for a shot. Now going to go for J4. 3 shots, 4 shots. Not going to do it with the mech and the stick charge. Is going to keep himself alive for a little bit longer, but it's not going to be long enough. Everyone else is just going to bail. That took quite a long time, actually. Even though there were a couple crits, the heals from Power Rangers were coming through.
In the meantime, Puck is going to blink away from the Lina. It's an attempt at Roshan, but now that's pretty much just going to feed it on a silver platter to Moscow 5. They actually did very little damage to Roche. Their team's not that great, with the exception of the Alchemist Acid Spray to reduce the armor. And now with both the Faces Void and PA in the pit, one of them's getting an Aegis one way or another. There's no way that PR can actually defend against this, despite having a Puck on their team, which is kind of nice about fighting inside the Roshan pit. But now multicast onto Dutura. He's going to be zoned out by a solo PGG, and that's it. Roshan is going to die. Ancient Apparition Ice Blast might clip onto Tron. They are trying to attempt this. The Spectre is going to get the Aegis snatch, but now the Chronosphere. Dutura is going to lose his Aegis almost immediately, but not before taking down the PA with the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast effect. Satchel is stunned up by the LSA, and Dutura makes it out alive up into the high ground. He still has that Aegis and is going to be able to survive with some earn charges as well. Tron, as well as Boyer Brain, looking for something else, but that steal coming out from PR, that was a very risky move, but I think it was necessary, and they make it pay off.
Yeah, that was very much so worth it. Losing your Puck is not the greatest. They got the kill on the Phantom Assassin. That was once again a very, very nice Chronosphere from the Faceless Void. Let the Phantom Assassin keep on right-clicking throughout all of that, but the Haunt, just the way the illusion was created, it was spawning literally right on top of Roshan, so I don't even think it was possible for anyone from Moscow 5 in order to click the Aegis and grab that, because the illusion was right there, and then of course the Spectre was right there soon after. So that was, by fortune or skill, the pretty much ideal situation for Power Rangers. It's not going to equalize this game, not by a long shot. Moscow 5 are still firmly in control and probably will look to take some objectives even though they're facing down an Aegis. But Power Rangers, those are the types of plays that they really need if they're going to get back into this game. But I don't know if it's going to be enough because they're setting up for mid. Boyer Brain has a blink LSA. He's going to think about it. No, they're not going to do it just yet. Vigos coming in. It's not going to commit. They have a Chronosphere in 30, and they're looking for a tier 2 mid. But up on top is going to be PGG in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get stunned up, brought down by the Ice Blast. And here comes Tron. Doesn't have a Chronosphere, but he has a lot of movement speed and a time walk forward. So Nico is going to have to run away and hope the Faceless Void doesn't get a single bash. But even then, I don't really know if it's going to be worthwhile. Let's see. Void. Bash. Holy crap.
Wow.
I can't believe he made it.
Yeah, that's 25% chance he hit him like 5 or 6 times. That should have been a kill onto your Shadow Doom, but he makes it away. Is in mid. Shadow Doom is not going to be so lucky. He gets killed up by the Skarath Mage. I think that was just one last Arcane Bolt. Now Vigos on the wraparound. Gonna find himself a Puck. Shashlo is not going to be jumped upon by the PA. Is just going to be forced to jump back behind his tier 2 tower. Still, Moscow 5 can continue these pushes with very little committed. They force back a couple of their supports, and Ancient Apparition Ice Blast doesn't land onto Vigos. Is able to continuously put some pressure onto this creep wave and the tier 2 tower.
This tier 2 tower is guaranteed to fall. Power Rangers thinking about going in potentially, but Boyer Brain, I mean, he has an Aghanim Scepter, so this is going to, do some pretty serious damage, as it does also have some pretty absurd range. You could throw that out pretty frequently. It's going to be a dangerous item and a dangerous situation for sure for Power Rangers. This is going to mean that M5 are going to be rotating constantly looking for objectives and kills. I mean, they've already taken down all the tier 2s. I'm expecting this one to drop shortly. They've already brought down Roshan one way or another. And it should be a matter of time before they look towards the high ground. Power Rangers, they have a Relic on Spectre, which I'm actually legitimately surprised by. Like, I didn't expect her to have this item for another 5 minutes or so. Alchemist has himself the workings of a Crimson Guard. It's still not enough.
It really isn't. Once that Lina has her level 16, that's going to be 950 pure damage, so she can pump into anybody. That's going to 100 to 0 almost your Ancient Apparition and immediately burst down the Shadow Demons. Inside the base, Vigos goes, almost brings down the Shadow Demon. Defensive Disruption will delay things as J4 survives by the skin of his teeth. The Chronosphere is going to catch PGG as well as Cheshire Cat. The Laguna Blade as well as the Scarlet Mage ulti will blow up the poor Alchemist. They'll lose their Shadow Demon on the backline. Tron's going to fall and the Spectre might be able to clean up PGG as well, and it looks like he will. They get a double Drain Coil onto Charizard as well as on the Blurry Brain. With the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast, that fight went so much better for PR than I thought it would. King are attempting to TP out. There's not a way for them to cancel it, and he'll be able to make it out successfully. But it's a 2 for 4 trade, rather, only losing the Aegis and the Spectre, and suddenly, your Spectre has a Radiance that not a terrible timing considering the start she had.
That fight did not go the way M5 really wanted to. Their Lina was always in the background, not really throwing out too many spells that I saw. The Faceless Void, his Chronosphere caught PGG as well, which probably did more hurt than help, even though the Scarlet Mage had follow-up with the Mystic Flare. Spectre Haunt just caused so much chaos, and then at the very tail end, the 2-man coil into the Ice Blast, that's just the cherry on the cake, and AA has himself Hanamitis to get himself an Aghanim Scepter. This is an extremely fast item from the Ancient Apparitions. Nico's been getting this item at pretty much a consistent rate, and even in the last game he had it about this time, so Ice Blast is certainly a useful tool. Lifesteal is so crucial for Phantom Assassin to live, and for the Faceless Void to live. You could deny them that, you're going to be very happy moving forward, and it's still going to be Moscow 5 in the lead. But I said before that Power Rangers are going to have to make those types of plays in order to get back into this game. And that, I think, is going to be one of those types of plays. That was pretty much exactly what they needed.
Look at the experience graph. That's ridiculous. It's going to be dropped to about a 6,000 lead after being 14,000, and might even be lower than that after it fully updates. That's a huge swing. Still, Moscow 5 are going to be pretty comfortable with their standing in this game, but PR, there's now hope for the complete turnaround. Spectre, once she gets another couple of items, is going to be problematic for Moscow 5. Yeah, Phantom Assassin currently sitting on 3k gold. That's 3k gold that she's not doing anything with. I assume this is going to be an Abyssal Blade, maybe? For the Phantom Assassin, just going to be some more damage, as well as that guaranteed lockdown, so that she can stick onto a target, hopefully the Spectre for them. Vigos and company are smoked up and looking for a big wraparound. I don't think they're going to find anybody, as Dichira is currently inside his base, and playing defensively enough to not get caught.
Alright, so M5, they are still pretty far ahead. Definitely not as far ahead as before, but as always, the problem is, how do we push into the high ground? M5 don't really have any great ways of initiating, as aside from, you know, blindly blinking and committing your heroes up there. They don't have a Batrider who could scout everything out and then decide to initiate or anything like that. So if they initiate, they're in for good, and they have to find themselves the right opportunity to do so. It's going to be dangerous going up the high ground, not impossible, but I feel like this is going to be a point where M5 need a substantial pickoff, or they need to wait for another Aegis if they want to comfortably take high ground.
And speaking of Roshan, it has the potential to be spawning back in about 2 minutes, but we won't know for sure until that time ticks down. Invis Rune in the puck is going to allow him to get some scouting, but he is going to blink away and then keep himself safe after finding the whereabouts of Blurry Brain, PGG, as well as Tron. For now, it's PR that is completely bottled up inside their base, but they're still getting a decent amount of farm on this Spectre. It is going to be that Abyssal Blade for the Phantom Assassin, bolstering her damage by quite a bit, although she's going to be operating with no buyback for the foreseeable future until that's farmed up, and it looks like Moscow 5 are just going to wait for an Aegis, or if somebody is unlucky enough to show their face outside of their base, PR, if they get picked off, that could be another opening for Moscow 5.
Yeah, so it's going to be Power Rangers just trying to get a little bit of farm in the Spectre. This is where you're pretty happy to have an Alchemist with maxed out Grievel's Greed, as every single creep wave that you're lucky enough to get is going to be worth that much more to the team, as Grievel's Greed is going to get some serious value right now. He has still gone for pretty much the pure support utility build. You know, he's only missing a Blink Dagger if he wants to fully commit to that, but I think it's about time for Alchemist to start building damage. I mean, it's not going to be just the Spectre in order to hold down the fort. He needs to be able to contribute something, and maybe just go for cost effectiveness. Go for like a Heaven's Halberd. That's a nice mild damage / utility item, and it's going to be pretty good at shutting down Faceless Void or PA. So they just need more items on pretty much anyone and everyone, but especially the Alchemist.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd like to see the Halberd, maybe if he just fully commits and goes into the likes of a Maelstrom, that wouldn't be terrible either. I like the combo utility choice, however. You might have been caught out up on top, however, Moscow 5 are going to exert a little bit of caution as they don't have complete vision over the heroes of PR and didn't know exactly who was there. Although if they had complete map vision, they probably would have killed off the Alchemist. Vigos eats himself an Ancient Apparition Ice Blast, and it's going to drop him fairly low, but the initiation is going to come out here with the Chronosphere onto Dichira. They're going to focus him down. Now the Spectre is going to be bashed and will be brought down to Earth. That's the pickoff that Moscow 5 have been looking for. It might not secure them a high ground push, but this next Roshan is looking pretty easy for them to take, since it is going to spawn right before the Spectre gets back here. There's a little bit of hope for PR to take a fight around the Roshan pit, but if they lose another one of the heroes, it's all but over. Vigos might get caught out here, is going to catch eyes on this Nico and Comfy. They're looking for a stun. Gesture Cat, will they be able to find it? No. Gesture Cat going to stun himself. Ancient Version Ice Blast also going to be off the mark. Now Vigos potentially looking for a turn. Now he has a little bit of backup in the rest of his teammates, but they're just going to push down the middle lane, put some pressure on these tier 3 towers with everybody PR outside of their base. This might put a decent amount of chip onto this tier 3.
Power Rangers, with only 30 seconds left until Spectre respawns, do not want to hit that buyback button. And it should be Moscow 5 pressuring mid a little bit more to get some guaranteed damage on the tower. Again, Power Rangers do not want to buy back. And even if they do, you could probably disengage before it's really going to punish you. So it looks like Moscow 5, they're going to let the Spectre respawn. So the pickoff ultimately not going to matter too much in the end. It's just going to be them buying time for Roshan, which is now up. And Vigos, with the Morbid Mask, can pretty much solo it. I believe he can, especially since he has Bloodlust on him. The rest of the team should be pushing out all the lanes or potentially backing up Vigos. This is potentially going to be a situation that we saw previously with the last Roshan, where the Spectre has Haunt and Power Rangers having an access route in, but PGG is going to take a solo man coil. Shacho's going to get jumped upon. The Abyssal Blade's going to kill him off very easily. Now here comes the Chronosphere, going to land on 2. Vigos is stuck in there, but it's not going to really matter, as it's going to be Tron pretty much doing all the damage needed. Dichiral is going to kill off the Scarith Mage in the back end, but still Vigos is going to town. Everyone now going to pop the BKB, try to go for Cheshire Cat. The damage is there. Here comes the Laguna Blade onto the Spectre. Not going to do quite enough, and now Spectre is in an awkward position, stuck between everyone. The bashes. Is Tron going to be lucky enough this time? There's one bash, the LSA, but he's down to the low ground already. But look at Lena's attack speed. So much damage on Dichiral, and the Ignite should kill off the Spectre. Burn, baby, burn. There it goes. No, not yet. It's going to be enough in the end. Yes, it will be. Power Rangers, they are not going to be able to steal this Roshan. It should be an easy Aegis for the Moscow 5 team. Although Vigos and Tron are already back at base, so maybe not.
I don't know, I would have thought they would have stuck around. HF version Ice Blast would have been problematic for them if they got bashed by Roshan. Maybe that could have been a kill on them, so they're going to play it safe. But I still think they can take Roshan, although it's going to be a little bit more difficult. They're still running with the Spectre with no Haunt, even if she does buy back, so it's not very scary, to be honest. There's not a great way for them to position inside this pit. That fight started out so awkwardly for PR. It's a solo Dream Coil onto the Ogre Magi, and then the puck instantly gets multicast and then jumped upon by the Abyssal Blade PA, and then Cashflow is dead. And then they're starting out the fight 4v5, and that's not a fight that they can take. Roshan is going to be attempted, and it looks like PR are angling for an attempt at contesting this. HF version Ice Blast lands onto Vigos as he blinks up towards the high ground, finds himself Cashflow, cancels his crit animation. The BKB is going to keep Vigos safe as now they focus down. Cheshire Cat is being chain bashed. Now the Chronosphere from the high ground catches out GJ4 as well as Nico. Cheshire Cat's still surviving on the backlines, but the rest of his team is not going to be so lucky. It's now the Blink Strike onto Cheshire Cat. The crits are going to be too much for him to handle, despite getting a stun off onto Tron as well as Vigos. It's going to be a 3-for-0 trade, and that's for sure going to be Roshan in the hands of Moscow 5.
So do you think PR are going to try again? Because it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. Maybe it'll work the third. Haunt is just now cooled down, but that's too late. Phantom Assassin grabs the Aegis. 3,800 gold after all that. Her and Tron are these ultimate survivors of that series of Roshan fights. He has himself a completed Mjolnir. The supports also got away with that, although their item pickups aren't going to be as impressive. Vigos is absolutely stacked, or soon to be absolutely stacked, once he spends his 4,000 gold. And Power Rangers, I think they just lost way too much. Like, they were already behind. They showed a couple signs of life, but taking those Roshan fights consecutively just put them so far back in this game. So, once again, game is in firm control of Moscow 5, and they have the Aegis. They should be looking to spend this gold and then reach the high ground, because it's not really going to get much better than this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Phantom Assassin, her next item, I think she's just going to go for the Satanic, although if she does get tagged by the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast, it's not going to help her that much, and might consider going for the likes of a Butterfly, potentially. We'll see where Vigos is going to angle his item build. Right now, it's just a casual Morbid Mask that is yet to be upgraded. Puck is going to jaunt away to his orb as he's going to make himself scarce, as the Phantom Assassin showing in lane is incredibly scary. A Blink Strike into Abyssal Blade would be the end of the puck, almost for sure, even without crits.
Yeah, usually you see the Morbid Mask being upgraded to the Satanic eventually, but I think I like this kind of half measure. He knows that odds are he's going to get hit with an Ice Blast, and at that point, you don't really want to have the Helm of the Dominator in your inventory, as it will most likely not do that much for you. Just a little bit of armor, a little bit of damage, not too worth it. So he's just going to get a little bit for lifesteal in order to be constantly at full HP, and he's still holding on to quite a lot of gold. I don't know what you go in this case. I think any sort of damage item is going to be nice. Maybe go for a butterfly and get to that unkillable status, or hell, even just build towards a satanic and get a lot of bulk. But either way, Vigos is going to be a pretty large force moving forward, and Moscow 5, they're going to look to smoke up and off of a pick-off, try to breach high ground. They might catch Alchemist, although Alchemist is playing pretty defensively. He can throw the acid, but it's going to mean a Fire Blast onto him. Tron going to jump forward. The bashes are not going to flow just yet. Now the Chronosphere onto Cheshire Cat's going to kill him off in a hurry. Ditchy Raw is going to reality in, but really can't get much done off of this one. Has Blade Mail pop, might kill PG. He actually gets forced up to the high ground. Ditchy Raw wants to go up to the high ground as well. Here comes Blow Your Brain. Will miss the LSA, but hits the Laguna Blade, and Spectre dropping very low, but already Moscow 5 have lost 2, and the Tron is very low as well. The PA is going to go now for the Spectre. The damage just going to be there, and it's also going to be Sachel in the back end, left behind by the rest of his team. Vigos is going to fight to the death, I'm sure, although not going to have many targets left. It's going to be 2 for 2 at the end of the day, and Moscow 5, well, they actually kill Courier as well. It was holding a gem. I think that was all it was holding, yeah, but a little bit of a cherry on that cake. They don't lose the PA or the Void, so no matter what, Moscow 5 having a good fight.
It is going to be a completed butterfly that Vigos is going to be shipping out to himself on the courier, as he was sitting on that 6,000 gold in order to make it so. Aegis is going to expire in 2 minutes. But for now, Vigos has not a fear in the world. He can play incredibly aggressively if he wants to, and if anybody shows their face, I think that he's going to go for the jump. High ground push is still problematic for Moscow 5, but they're so close to being able to make it so. If anybody on the side of PR missteps, that could be the opening to end this game.
And, well, they still have the Aegis on the Phantom Assassin. I think Moscow 5 would have liked to use the Aegis in that fight and maybe trade the Aegis for another kill and then go for high ground. But no matter what, they're still in a position to make some plays happen, as Tron, just now getting his Chronosphere cooldown, is not going to go towards the puck over on mid. But they're pushing up top lane, and mid lane's getting a little bit of pressure as well. It looks like the push is going to come up towards top. Blow Your Brain kind of awkwardly far away from the rest of his team, but do they even need this Lina? As good as Laguna Blade is, I don't think it's necessary to use Laguna Blade in order to take good fight. Vigos is going to start the fight by dodging an Ancient Apparition Blast, and now he's going to take Tower Aggro Chronosphere onto both Vigos and Dichira. I don't really know if that's worth it. Vigos is dropping very low. He's going to get thrown up to the air, but they're going to kill off the Spectre. He's going to be forced to buy back if he wants to hold this. It's going to be Tron to drop, though. He's taking way too much damage. Now the Aegis is used as well. The Spectre in the backline is going to go off to the supports, and, well, she's actually going to change her mind and go straight back towards Vigos. Now in the BKB. Demonic Purge, not going to matter, as he does jump his way out. Here comes a chase, though. Sachel going to land a 2-man coil, instantly snapped by Vigos, but Blow Your Brain in the middle of everyone. Wants to get a sound. Someone's probably going to look towards Dishira, but Blade Mail going to make it so Blow Your Brain pretty much kills himself. Vigos also dropping very low. Has got to get himself out of there. Ice Blast will fly, will narrowly miss Vigos, and Blow Your Brain is going to be the sacrificial lamb. He's going to turn around and maybe throw out your ultimate or just do nothing and die. Power Rangers mount yet another successful defense. Tron definitely not survivable enough as this faces Void. He has a lot of farm, but he's going pure glass cannon, and he's getting punished for it.
Yeah, I'm sad that the Lina didn't throw the ultimate the way of Ancient Apparition. Would have gotten the spike kill before dying, but still Phantom Assassin survives throughout all of that, which is nice. It's still a win for PR as the Ogre Magi. What happened? Did he just multicast down that Shadow Demon?
X4, and that's just it.
Okay. I figured as much. I didn't even see that happening. I'm not sure why the Shadow Demon was there, but he dies. We're going to see an Aghanim Scepter can bleed by the puck. This is an item that's actually fairly interesting on puck now, that the piercing of the Dream Coil goes through BKB. I'm pretty sure that the ultimate... Oh my goodness, there's a fight breaking out, and Spectre dies in mid, and Vigos finds himself another hero down. My goodness, the Spectre was just going so aggressively and gets the tier 1 tower denied on top of it. I wasn't expecting the Spectre to be there.
Yeah, Power Rangers, they were kind of being a little bit suicidal in this push. I mean, yes, they did just take a nice defense, but they're still behind, and they can't really afford to forget that. They get punished to Fire Blast into just annihilation from the Phantom Assassin, and I mean, there's still a lot of damage and no Blade Mail being popped because of the quick Abyssal from Vigos. Not a good situation for PR to be in, but yeah, the Aghanim Scepter on puck, it's definitely has a lot of upside, but the chance of that upside actually shining through is very slim. Like, you actually have to snap the coil in order for the Aghanim Scepter to be relevant, and that doesn't always happen. It's going to be another kill onto Cheshire Cat while he's trying to farm some Ancients. He has a lot of regeneration, and Tron's actually having some trouble, but he'll get this kill in the end.
Oh, I was kind of hoping for the Nigh coming out from the Alchemist just barely off of it. As J4 shows his face, and he's going to get first hit bashed. J4, poor Shadow Demon. It's not a good game to be the SC here, and with those pickoffs, it's going to be a fairly easy push for Moscow 5. 30 seconds, no Spectre. They might be hoping to force out the buyback, but since there is none, this might just be one lane of barracks.
I think this will be. Ancient Apparition Puck, as farmed as they are, Ancient Apparition is freaking stacked. He has a Sange and Ghost Scepter. He cannot hold up against Phantom Assassin and Faceless Void. Ice Blast is going to be a useful tool, certainly, but that's about it. Puck really wants to use the Aghanim Scepter coil right now, but if he goes in, then it's just going to be the end. This is going to be, at the very least, one set of Raxes. I don't think they're going to stick around for much more, although they probably can force a fight following this. It's still just a definitive win for Moscow 5, and they're probably going to back off and wait for their next set of items, or Vigas is just going to go in and try to take another tier 3. That's also a way to go, I suppose. He's going to back off in the end. Everyone should be able to get out of here. Big items being picked up for Moscow 5, though, and it's not looking good for the Power Rangers. They need to make another miraculous defense happen. Killing Boiler Brain is going to be a nice start, but he has a Sheep Stick, and Puck's got to watch himself. Here's the Haunt. Where's the Spectre ultimately going to land? Going to go towards Boiler Brain. The coil does snap, and now the Lena's going to go down. Aghanim Scepter value right there. King R also going to be put into lethal range with the Ice Blast. He's doomed. Vegos being chased down. He gets Invisor denied to him. Going to pop the BKB and try to escape, but here comes Tron with a 2-man Chronosphere. He's all alone, however. He'll kill off J4. Now try to go for the Spectre. Damage isn't quite there, though. He's going to get a lot of damage to the Spectre, but not enough to actually kill anyone off. Now PGG is here. Multicast not going to happen. And now he's going to be awkwardly left behind by the Faceless Void, who wants no part of this. Ogre Magi thrown up into the air, and he's going to land right back into an unstable concoction. He's going to go down. Power Rangers, they make another fantastic trade. And Moscow 5, it's pretty much the status quo. It's been this game for the entire game. Moscow 5 still ahead, but Power Rangers still fighting back.
At this point in the game, one set of Rax is not the end-all be-all. They have plenty of tools in order to push this out. Acid Spray, as well as the Puck Nukes, and the Spectre is fairly easily able to take out these creep waves. So it's not it for Moscow 5, or for Power Rangers, rather. There's a Soul Smoke coming out from Vegos, potentially looking for the poor Puck. If the Abyssal Blade lands, Puck is dead. Let's see if it's going to be so. Shashlo, I think he's going back off after this creep wave, and backing off might secure his demise. Let's see. Yeah, he's thinking about it, but now the Phantom Assassin blinks at the creeps and isn't able to get the Abyssal onto the Puck. Down to the sidelines is Shachlo, probably going to TP out, but he's hanging around. They might be looking for a wraparound onto Vegos. Ancient Apparition Ice Blast. If this lands, this could be killing the Phantom Assassin. They're going to go for it with Spectre jumping in. Dreamcoil committed. BKB, he's going to be able to TP out of this one. No way to cancel that. And Phantom Assassin escapes with her life.
Man, that's like the third or fourth time that Vegos has gotten away doing exactly that, just popping BKB 5 seconds, and he's perfectly reasonable to pop for an escape and then teleporting away. At a certain point, he's just going to turn around and fight, but he's not at that point just yet. It still has 2 more item slots to fill. Roshan is up, however, and this is a cheese Roshan. Power Rangers, if they somehow manage to take this without being punished, then suddenly they're in a fighting position. The Spectre still doesn't have that much. He has 4,000 gold, which is really nice. Has to save for buyback, however, when it's up on the timer, of course, but this Spectre can eventually turn this game back in favor of Power Rangers if Moscow 5 don't take another set of Raxes. I mean, they're so far ahead right now, so it's hard to even fathom, but Vegos gonna come right in. Dichiraz gotta bail out, and Roshan down to half HP. Vegos gonna land the Abyssal onto J4. Oh my god, the crits. Yeah, he's pretty dead. Now they're gonna clean up Roshan, and with a cheese and Aegis the way of Moscow 5, I don't see Power Rangers being able to defend anymore.
Aegis the way of the Phantom Assassin, Cheese the way of Tron, and this just got so hard for Power Rangers, they need a miracle, and I'm not sure what that is. Maybe a 5-man Puck Dreamcoil if they're able to break it, but now they might lose even more. It's just Sharkek's Elisade in mid, and he's going to be brought down. Laguna Blade for good measure as Lena secures it. That's going to be no Alchemist for a minute, and this should be an easy another lane of Rax. Actually, he barely gets the buyback gold, just ticking up. He was just on that threshold, apparently, but either way, it is going to be the tier 3 tower falling in the favor of Vegos, and there's nothing we can do with or without an Alchemist. The range barracks is going to be focused first by Vegos, but they can easily take the melee after the fact, and Faceless Void is already seeing to that. PR, the pressure's on them to jump in, but the Chronosphere are going to catch out. No, it's not going to be 3, but the defensive disruption might be enough to save Spectre's life for now. She's going to jump back into the Scarlet Mage ultimate. The dispersion does a lot of damage, but not enough, and no buyback on the Spectre. Spectre's going to be in a lot of troubles on the backline, so Dreamcoil onto 2, but the Puck needs to bail. Just can't get out of here. Now Satchel is going to be able to back off on 2. The Puck doesn't land the LSA, however, and that's not going to be enough damage, or will it? The phase shift is going to come out from the Puck, looking for the blink away. Is going to find the blink away down towards the south. It's in the meantime, the Spectre does find enough gold for the buyback, and now looking for the Killing King R. Finds Killing King R, looking for the Faceless Void, but he has the cheese. He's still taking quite a bit of damage as the Ogre Magi finding almost falling to that illusion, but the TP away from the Ogre Magi is going to keep himself safe. Mask of Madness on the Void, still slowed down by that Spectre. Daggler is going to survive, and Vegos joins company as well. Buyback forced out by the Spectre is still a very convincing win, especially considering they take the entirety of the top barracks.
Yeah, the fact that they were forced to buy back was actually pretty bad for Power Rangers. They're going to kill off Cheshire Cat, and Moscow 5, they make a decent enough retreat, lose the Skyrath Mage, drop the Ogre pretty low, but, I mean, they get out alive. They were fountain farming, like Faceless Void and Vigos were literally at the edge of the stairs of the fountain and just hitting Power Rangers heroes as they were coming out, and, well, just not looking good for Power Rangers. They've only 1 Rax left until they are just 100% completely out of this game, and it's just not looking good for them. They are going to split push the bottom lane as much as they can, but if Puck gets caught with an Abyssal, then he is just dead. Cheshire Cats, or Shotshills rather, is going to hide and blink out of there. He'll be just fine, but M5, they use the Aegis, they use the cheese, I believe. Yes, they do. And they still have a lot of gold to their people. I mean, 7,500 on the Phantom Assassin, 45 on the Faceless Void. Bottom lane push is going to be inevitable, and Power Rangers, they are right now on their deathbed. They need a miracle.
Yeah, pretty much. Phantom Assassin, next item of choice is going to be an Assault Cuirass. Not something we see on Phantom Assassin very commonly, but I like it. The extra armor is going to be pretty useful. But most importantly, the minus armor, especially up against the structures, and the extra attack speed. More attack speed, more crits. It didn't really matter what Vigos was going to buy, to be honest. It could have been a Dagon 5. I think they'd still be in a decent position in this game. Outside of buying Rapier and then losing it to the Spectre, I think Vigos is completely fine with whatever he chooses.
Yeah, he's pretty much immune to right-click, so I think I would have rather liked to see something that gives him flat HP instead of flat armor, but, you know, to each his own, and Vigos is going to be extremely durable. I mean, he already is 22 armor. Do you really need any more?
No.
Obviously, it's not for the armor that he's getting the item, but still, it's going to be severe armor overkill from the Phantom Assassin. She could dive the fountain, like, just sit in the fountain, easy.
Bloodlust now works on courier since it does go through BKB. So we have a very fast little courier. I actually didn't know about that interaction. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, Skyrath Mage now with an Ethereal Blade. This could hurt a lot. Unfortunately for them, it is pure damage on Lena's ultimate now, so it's not going to be amplified at all. This game, they probably would have preferred the old Lena ultimate, but either way, if you Ethereal Blade Ancient Seal somebody and then get a 4x multicast, they are fried.
All right, so slow siege now from M5. Mid lane is pushing towards the Dire, as is top. And Power Rangers, they're going to have to be splitting their forces between 3 lanes. And really, they need like 8 heroes to deal with this bottom lane right now. Jump in from Tron, looking for a Chronosphere, is going to hold it for now. He gets the disarm out, and they're going to blow out Soniko. It was just King R all by himself, and now Shotshell's going to try to make something happen off of that. Still Vigos and Blur Brain going to look to dive. They'll kill off the Shadow Demon with the Laguna Blade, but Vigos frozen in place. He's now going to pop the BKB and just go to town. Cheshire Cat, the Abyssal's there. At the same time, Slotcho being brought down by Tron. Suddenly, Jishira is the only one alive. Buyback from the Shadow Demon, but I don't think that's really going to be relevant. Here comes the Puck as well. Might be able to help out if he has a coil. He does not. Slotcho can throw an orb, might get the kill into PGG, but Blow Your Brain still is in the area with an LSA available if it ever does hit. M5, they're not going to get out of this without a couple of heroes being lost. PGG is going to burn to the Radiance. They should die there. There he goes. They don't lose the Faceless Void, nor do they lose the Phantom Assassin. The Raxes survive, I guess, for Power Rangers, but their base is kind of in ruins.
It really is, and Boots of Travel into the enemy base. Blow Your Brains on a secret mission to Nowhere Land. Potentially finding a kill onto J4, and he's going to hex him up, looking for the Laguna Blade. Doesn't even need it. Will he need it? Oh, the creeps are going to get the kill, and Blow Your Brain is going to find a solo onto the Shadow Demon, and despite repelling Moscow 5 for a little bit, it just took a fraction of a second to get enough HP to where they could actually fight again. Concussive Shot throws away the Spectre. He's forced all the way back into his base, and when you're forced into your base while your tier 4s are under siege, it's not a pretty picture. The Spectre just dying so low, very little actually committed to that, and the tier 4s are in shambles. The barracks down at bottom are being taken out by Blur Brain. That's Mega Creeps. Laguna Blade thrown the way of Soniko, and now Vigos is going to right-click him down. A little bit of a mess coming out from the Halberd, but that's all that she wrote. Dirty Raw is currently on the sidelines as Vigos has none of that and will go for the Ancient. It's going to be Halberded up as he doesn't have the BKB and might fall here. He is caught between a couple of enemy heroes, and Cold Feet does proc. Their Ancient is still taking too much damage as Blow Your Brain's focused down. The Chronosphere going to catch pretty much everybody on the enemy team. They lose their Spectre, and they're going to lose even more. Shachel is being focused down. He's going to die. Soniko also going to suffer a similar fate. Cheshire Cat is also going to fall. As we have a pause at a terrible time. GG, well played. Called out by PR.
That was a double the Chronosphere from Faceless Void. Just to add insult to injury, unfortunately we don't get to see how long Vigos can survive in the enemy fountain, but it is not going to matter in the end with a total score of like them doubling up Power Rangers kills. Moscow 5 are going to take this game and push the series to a game 3.
Yeah, and it should be a fairly good one. Thanks for watching here on HeflaTV. We've been hosting here the Yard Red Festival. All the proceeds from the ticket do go to the Red Cross if you want to support that. You can go ahead though and buy those in the in-game store. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you for Game 3 coming up shortly.